Look. The quality never went from good to bad or bad to good. Every episode in this season has the same quality. There wasn't quality difference between episodes. And this proves that the issue was not about the time. COVID, earthquake, time. The real issue was Mappa itself. They did a bad job. That simple. Now let me say why they did a bad job step by step. Graphics by Mappa was bad or mediocre at best. Drawing was bad. Lines were unstable. Shapes were wrong. Colors were dead. Shading was weak. Backgrounds had no depth. Perspectives are gone. Animations were bad. And CGI were overused in a strange way. Before all these details, I want to address the nitpicking. I won't show you in between frames or background characters unlike Mappa defenders did with his arguments like Wit had bad drawings, animations, CGI, which are mostly not true. Here's a full scene of horrible visuals. Colors are disgusting. Everywhere is full of blur fade effect, which is also disgusting cheap effect. Characters and background are blended each other. Shading is also weak but I want to talk about the effects. Mappa is obsessed with blur fade effect. They overused it. Almost every episode has this disgusting layer. Here the basic of this effect. You put certain amount of blur and just lower the opacity of it. That's all. It is being used as to give dreamy shinings. Its actual use though is to cover up the errors. With the first episode, first thing I noticed how some of the talking animations are out of sync. Here's some examples.
あれ海軍が海からやっつけてくれないのかな。
ソフィア、お前海軍に何が期待できるってんだよ。制海権を奪うのに4年もかけやがった無能の声だめだぞ。それもあれだけやった戦艦を半分くらい沈められてやっとの快挙だ。
長距離走であんたに負けたの初めて。
おい、いいぞサシャ。おい、いいぞサシャ。おい、いいぞサシャ。
Rotoscope scenes were out of place. I never thought it would be that bad. It's not that the technique is bad. In my opinion, Mappa did bad job on rotoscope. Clarity is another issue with Mappa's version. The colors are already too dark to catch up, but camera shake, dust and lack of animations confuse viewers what really is going on. Can anyone tell me what just happened? The lack of clarity is too low that we have to watch slower to see the action. In this scene, which was part of final episode, we can see all the problems at once. Drawings are horrible, their head and face shape are wrong. Colors are uninspiring, backgrounds have no depth. There are perspective issues and light and shadows are just disgusting. We already said original camera angles, animations and perspectives are a big part of Attack on Titan title. So Mappa also tried one of those epic scenes. Here's the result. Do you want to know why this scene was not inspiring? Because background is CGI, Titans are CGI and Scouts are also CGI. I will talk about CGI later on animation issue. I can already hear apologists saying, but Wit Studio also used Colossal Titan as CGI. So it is bad. Sorry, but you are wrong again. Wit Studio mostly avoid using CGI as focus. Their trick was using CGI Titans as background. Here, take a closer look. The actual focus in this scene is the Scout, not the Titan. Titan is just a background. But Mappa uses CGI as focus on their most scenes. Anyways, when I watched the first episode, the first bad drawing I saw was Falco's hand. Just look how wrong it looks. This is episode 1, literally the first scene. As we can see, the problem is not the time. Now let's check Pixie's drawing. Focus on chin. See how drawing changes from sharp to soft for absolutely no reason. The drawing is really bad in here. Some lines are sharp and straight, but in a few seconds on same angle it becomes soft and rounded. See? This is sharp and straight. But this is soft and rounded and it is still the same angle. I don't know how to tell, but they didn't use smoothing on pen pressure, if you know what I mean. The pen's texture and pattern is also a weird choice. This makes so many mistakes and bad look on drawing. Especially on old characters and blondes. Look how bad it looks when you're drawing lines with no smoothing, bad pattern and no pen pressure mix-up with blonde hair. In this scene, you can see that this head sketch does not belong to Mikasa. Now focus on Mikasa's chin. You'll see it has no smoothing and it becomes rounded on other frame. This might look right on manga, but you can't draw characters in anime like this. If Mappa stick with this pen and drawing style, they will still fail in second part. This is the final scene where we see hand-drawn Titan. But it still looks bad cause of that pen or brush choice. Here, I actually found them using the iconic contour lines of previous seasons. Maybe this was just belong to a freelancer, or maybe they did it to avoid the light, but the difference is huge. Lines are unstable. You can see the lines are sometimes out of place. And the pen choice doesn't help. Sometimes they are too sharp, then instantly soft. Sometimes there are errors. And sometimes, no. This is just wrong. If Armin has a straight chin line, then Mikasa should have the same straight chin line. The integrity is dead. Pixie's is an old man who has rounded chin and face lines. Everything goes right, but then, bam, wrong sharp face and chin. The shapes are wrong. Sometimes it's the wrong placement. Sometimes it's the length of the body parts. Sometimes it's their head type. And sometimes they literally drawing it wrong. Levi also have wrong chin types and wrong head width. The difference between Wit and Mappa is also very obvious when they flash back. The colors are dead. From skin tones to backgrounds, everything painted really bad. Everything is in orange color. And there's a stupid orange to blue gradient pattern overlaid on most scenes. Also, the blur fade effect makes everything look even worse. Some people saying the colors are dark and tones are dead. It is intentional because it is concept of war. They are wrong again. People try hard to make Mappa look good as pathetic. Every other seasons had more deaths than this season. There were always a war. Yet the colors never hide behind excuses. Back to color issue for this season, blonde hair got suffered a lot. Shading is weak. One of the most obvious fail by Mappa was shadings. Lights and shadows are really badly done in this season. Focus on Falco's face shadows. Sometimes background or character shadows are on wrong perspective. Sometimes shadows look like P. Literally P. And sometimes shadows are too sharp that it could be nothing but lack of skill. And some scenes don't have the must-have lights. Here I'll do it just to show you what I mean. Previous seasons always had the uptones on shading. That's one of the reason why their visuals looked so good. Mappa also couldn't give depth to the scenes, especially backgrounds. Here in this scene you can see the distance between characters, but in next scene, they are on the same paper. Mappa couldn't put depth between layers. To make a scene look deep, you need to use layers, shadow effects, field blur and perspective. Wit used everything to make a scene look good. Backgrounds were amazing. Layers were moving great. Camera angles were unique and perspective was always there. Let's remember some of them. Perspectives and unique camera angles were also big part of great visuals. Those two aspects lacks horribly with Mappa. Mappa avoiding those caused scenes being two-dimensional front angle view, which is nothing but downgrading visuals. Wit never got afraid PF using perspective and camera angles. In fact, they went even deeper with putting unseeable details to those scenes. Just mind-blowing. Finally, we are on the main issue, animations. I'll start with two CGI titans fighting and then Mikasa comes up with a really bad slice animation. Laser effect is especially bad in here. This can be fixed in Blu-ray, by the way. What can't be fixed though is Falco having 4 emotion faces in one stall image. This is terrible. This is unforgivable. I don't know how come anyone defend this. Motions are lifeless and emotions been avoided because of CGI and lack of animations. And lack of hit feel also unforgivable. Check how Scouts using rockets which has no feel of throwing. This is how hit feel should look. Crowd animations were also lifeless. We had similar the back to home scenes on previous scenes and it looked way better than this. Also, hair animation is a must. You can't avoid hair animation and hope for a good output. No, that's not gonna happen. Mappa, you have to animate the damn hair. Look how terrible it looks when there's no animation. Mappa did in zoomed full CGI animation. Let's compare it to Wit Studios' mixed CGI animation. By the way, what the fuck is this? The last thing I want to mention is emotion lines. You know, those anime lines appear on faces to express some emotions and shadows. Mappa mostly used the mask fine, but it still had many faults. But they completely failed on moving the line masks. It really isn't that hard to do. I could also show you how, but I'm really low on time now and this video is already too long. Finally, CGI. CGI is not a bad thing. If you know how to use it or how to mix it up, you can have great animations. You guys are mixing CGI and 3D models. Mappa's 3D models are good. Really good. Mappa's fault was overusing CGI and making them focus. So they use CGI titans as focus. backgrounds also CGI and scouts also CGI. So it turned into a bad CGI fiesta. And they are not using the advantages of using CGI models and backgrounds. Because in 2D you can't put camera wherever you want. It would cost way too much time and effort. But if you using CGI characters and CGI background, what is stopping Mappa to use some unique camera angles and perspectives? This is just so weird of Mappa. No wonder people hated all those fight scenes. They're used CGI just to avoid putting effort. This is what can you do with CGI scenes. You can feel the freedom of camera angle, camera chase and perspectives. Using unimportant scenes or background characters as CGI is okay. Mappa used all characters as CGI on non-important scenes. This is okay. You can use this to earn time. Also, you can see how bad it looks when they put their CGI Titan right next to Wit's animation. Mappa did good on lens flares and close-ups. Anyways, this is the animation we got. We have every right to criticize it, and this was my review about it. Time? Who cares? Matrix is one of my favorite movie of all time. If new Matrix is bad, everyone will call it bad. Them having pandemic or not enough time is not an excuse for any studio, both in movies or animes. Oh, by the way, Armin literally non-stop asking to talk with enemies turned out good. Who would you pick? Erwin or Armin? Hit the poll in description. Now, you listened me and I am fully ready for your hate comments. Bring it on.